What up, though? Yo, thank you very much for sticking with us. It's your boy B back, and my brethren Keith. We were having a very deep conversation and paused it just so that you guys had the chance to go tell people that these guys are. Also, get you a little time, go to your fridge, and go make the liquor shop run. Know what time it is, but nonetheless, if you have not poured yourself a drink by now, it's time to do so. All right. So Keith, basically, I was asking, um, in terms of the market, right? And you were saying that um, study the market that you wish to pursue and build your business on. My question was going to be, um, in this country, as small as we are, what is your thoughts and your take on um, the competitiveness in terms of every market or the markets that you know of?
Okay, that's actually a really good question. I'll tell you this: the first business I started, we was not supposed to be able to do that
Okay.
because the market, when it comes to the island size, even though it's so small, you would think it would be more competitive, but it wasn't. It was literally wide open.
Hmm.
So we was actually able to year after year after year after year after year after year continue to grow because the
Progress, right?
competition really wasn't there until you really get to the big boys,
Got
right? So when it comes to, again, it's whatever industry you're trying to get into,
you. Hmm.
right? There are roadblocks depending on the industry,
Hmm.
but I'm in construction, right?
Hmm.
So there's really no gatekeeper. If you have the skills, if you have the management skills, if you have the know-how, and if you, especially if you have the capital, um, then it's your oyster, really, right? But in other industries, there could be a gatekeeper. But I mean, look, man, this life is chess, right?
Hmm.
You need
Hmm.
to figure out a way to get behind the defenses. So, and if you can't figure that out, it's not really the gatekeeper; it's actually you.
So you feel that folks are not strong enough or have the drive to pursue the full process of building a business?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say that it takes a certain amount of fortitude
Hmm.
to be able to push the envelope. And most people, well, you have to remember, most businesses fail in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
It's usually two, what is it, 2 to 3, 2 to 5? Most businesses fail in that amount of time,
Hmm.
but they've already created the business. Well, there's a lot of people with a lot of ideas, but they never took that next step. And that next step is the fortitude to move around
Yeah.
whoever you need to
Yeah.
move
And
around
that,
and connect
I
with.
feel that that's a big roadblock that people put in front of themselves most of the
I
time.
agree.
Most of the time.
I agree.
Um,
It's only resources around. It's the people who
yeah.
are not resourceful,
Right.
or they get intimidated or discouraged by any obstacle or
Obstacle.
challenge.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's another person who's also in the line of, finding the resources or being resourceful.
Hmm.
So whether sometimes attitudes don't really mix or vibe or whatever, it really does come down to the person, because there are resources. I mean, everywhere are resources. So for anybody to say that, oh, there are no resources or
Hmm.
it's nothing there, I don't know where to look. Exactly. I, you, but there are cases to
To
it.
look. Yeah.
You
I think
just have to,
I
yeah.
think
I agree.
I think on this island, the problem that we look at first is the cost of accessing this resource that is required.
Agreed.
Um, Instead of making a plan to either fund it or get to that position.
No, I agree. But here's where the lack of understanding of business and requiring resources See, there are individuals that have the capital to where if you want to start somewhere, you can talk to these people, but you have to create a pitch. If you want the resources, look, everybody doesn't start with capital, right? But if you want resources or capital, you got to go somewhere else to get it. All right, cool. Well, you have to create a pitch to where you have to get this other individual with the resources to understand your vision, right?
Yeah.
That's where the rubber meets the road, and that's where most people actually fall.
So you said something that's actually posed the question that I want to ask you specifically. Those people who have that vision and then become fearful of sharing that vision with someone who has the resources to assist. What's the problem?
What is the problem with the fear?
Yeah.
Well, the problem with the fear is that they don't understand how to do business. See, that's what an NDA is actually for. A non-disclosure agreement, right? So if you're going to somebody and you have an idea, it has nothing to do with making them feel bad or anything else. This ain't about emotions. This is business. So if you actually have an idea, you create I want to talk to you about this, but can you sign this before we talk and make these moves? It's an NDA. NDA is here. NDA is in the UK. NDA is in Canada. It's everywhere.
The problem with it, and correct me if this is, again, is my opinion and view on it. Feel free to chime in anytime you wish. Is that as Bermudians, that NDA is not used correctly, if used at all on this island. Okay. People are very loose-lipped when it comes down to certain things, and then would have the nerve to still be loose-lipped when someone else is seeing same venture has gone a level above theirs.
Understood.
Do you see that?
I mean, I do, and I think that's maybe part of the culture here in Bermuda. And I'm not saying that part of the culture isn't, but when it comes to doing business, you have to be a certain way. For one, people that are around you, you can't tell them your information. You can't tell them really what you're trying to do unless it's your mother, your father, you're really tight-knit circle. But when you go into an individual that you're trying to acquire resources from, there's a way to move and respond to them, right? And you bringing that to them is not going to hurt their feelings whatsoever, right? So you have to find that line of having that pitch, understanding business, and creating a space to where you know what you have, right? But you still have to convince the individuals that you want the resources from.
All right, let me move on real quick. Somebody has a business, has the financial capital to continue their business. However, that particular business does not work out. They drop it and look to start something else.
Yes.
How likely is that individual to be successful in this next venture if the first one didn't work?
Well, I'll tell you this. Most business individuals and most business-minded individuals, or if you start, because owning a business and being an entrepreneur are two different things, right? So for one, you have to find your lane. Are you just wanting to start a business and have that business, or do you want to become an entrepreneur, right? An entrepreneur has his hands in multiple things, right? Which is a lot of work, right? Once you find your lane, the main thing to understand is that failure is learning.
Yeah.
Right? Most entrepreneurs or most business owners fail their first, second, third time. That is actually a normal thing across the board. Now, the longevity of those businesses and when they failed is something different. Now, if you started a business, one day and then it ends in 6 months, well, you really did something wrong. So, something was wrong. But if you lasted for 10 years and it fell, well, there was probably some other aspects that allowed that business to fall, whether if it was you or finances or the market, right? But you're going to fail, but if you don't put yourself in a certain position, it usually takes about 2 years before you actually even start seeing any real money. And when I say real money, I'm just saying just enough to just to pay your bills. It don't work that way. But if you're not prepared for it, if you don't have the right network or don't have the right circles that can actually assist or resources or give you other financial information, because there's a lot of information to collect. There's information from the law, there's taxes, there's social insurance, there's all types of stuff.
Very rarely does it happen, and it only not even a handful of names come to mind when I think of inheriting a business in this country. There are some on the larger scale, but there are some on the smaller scale who tend to take over the business from a family member or somebody who's just passed on or retired, don't even want to do it no more. This business is breaking even. How do you think these people are in these times? I'm not sure if you know of any. And if you do,
I do.
Okay, fair enough. Perfect. In these times, how do you think they are going to continue on 5 years from now?
They won't.
Really?
Flat out. And that solely comes from the lack of teaching. Because, a long time ago, see, we're in a new age now. A long time ago, if the father was a blacksmith, the son was a blacksmith. He became a better blacksmith, right? Then he had a son. He became a better blacksmith. Now, 3 or 4 generations down the line, see, now he's actually he's locked in. He knows how to upscale and everything else, right?
It's in him. Right.
Yeah. It's already in him. Now he don't even have to beat the anvil and the metal anymore. He don't have to do that no more. He can hire other guys to do that. That's the way business was actually grown a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, do you think that the modern day distraction is the reason for that? Think about it. Back in the day, if you saw your pops doing X, Y, Z, you were tapped in watching pops doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But back then, you didn't have a cell phone, you didn't have Twitch, you didn't have PlayStation 18, you didn't have Xbox, you didn't have all these different amenities that would take more time.
I mean, I think what you're saying is legitimate.
Back then, if you say, let's use the blacksmith example. If I'm a blacksmith, and son, you got shit to do, but watch me hone my craft and you tap in.
Right.
Now, with all the influence from your peers, outside distractions, pops ain't got time to do this shit.
I mean, I think part of that was also as a community, your dad, that father was known to be that. And so as a community, we came in and said, all right, cool, the blacksmith, I got to go to the blacksmith. Which then sort of you as the kid made you feel like, I don't got to be like my daddy because everybody needs it for it. Like, you know what I mean? And then I think we'll get more into the way that we raise our children and what we allow.
See, now we're segueing into something else, right? Which was a good point.
Yes.
Excellent point. Yeah.
Your school system, your job, everything is honing you to be a follower. It's honing you to be a worker. To be a worker. Everything is setting you up nowadays to be a worker. They are programming you to be a civilian.
And not based off of what your family pretty much done. We discussed this off camera, I think maybe some weeks back, in terms of people receiving their last name based off of what you done. Painter, you was a painter.
You was a painter.
You know, Smith, you was a blacksmith.
Yeah. You just look at all this Mama rich daughter. Look at all these wealthy heirs that don't got shit to do with it.
Yeah,
Right.
Michael Jordan kids.
there.
LeBron's son catching the problem right now.
Right.
You know, a lot of things happen.
It's done a lot of things.
You know what? I think is I don't want to be long-winded, brother. Right? But see, the times are different, right? But the times are backwards because none of it's fucking working, right? Now, it's only backwards or mainly backwards when it comes to Western societies. It's actually starting to break down in other societies, right? But if an Arab guy, if his great great grandfather was a merchant, he's a merchant now, right? If a Chinese guy had a herbal shop, right, and his great great grandfather, but he's teaching his son how to do this, but his son is learning how to incorporate this, right? I come from a line of builders. My father's a builder. His father was a builder. His father was a builder. But now I'm here doing stuff. And I talk to my father damn near every day. Son, what you doing today? Oh, I figured this out, Dad. I did this. I'm going to incorporate this. Oh, thank you. But he's out there still doing his thing. So what we did is we parted the sea from it was the father. See, we keep talking about the father and the son and everything else, but there's so many fatherless homes. You can't create that link of the builders and the shakers. It's impossible.
We hit a point some time back where we, removed the fathers from there. We had that discussion.
Right, we've had that.
All
Agreed.
of that stuff. I mean, it depends on the way that you look at the dynamic in terms of the business that you're inheriting, right? And how far down the line your family actually started this business or carried out this business. Again, off the top of my head, on this island, there's only a handful of people who I can name, maybe not even that, who have inherited businesses. And I mainly look at the bigger brands who are still building, who are still trying to expand.
Right.
And so with those type of people who have inherited big businesses, I think they are knowledgeable from their parents. Those people.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
It is a.
They learned. They got the message. Oh.
It's a structure, but that's where the husband and wife, right? Because we're still talking about business, right? Yeah. We're still in that, right? The husband and wife understand that there is a duty that is there. It is a responsibility, and these kids are taught from 8, 9, 10. They're learning some of these lessons early. So actually, they understand that it is actually part of their duty to come into the mother and father business and keep progressing. Now, when you do that, again, we've talked about it before. The greatest and fastest way to wealth is with family, right? So if you start a business on your own and you got a son, well, it's going to take time for you to understand the business first, because you can't be teaching somebody if you don't understand it, right? But that's going to take years depending on your skill set, what industry you're in, and what market you're in, right? But if you actually hone in on it, like dial in on it, after a few years, now you can start relinquishing some of that information.
Good. What's that? Good, Mike. Family.
I could tell you, but I don't want to. I don't, because I can tell you some. I can tell you one that failed, and I can tell you one that's hanging on. But I really don't want to put this stuff on. I don't want to put this stuff on blast like that.
From my list, yeah, that businesses that are doing all right.
Yeah, there's one that's actually still thriving.
Yeah.
But
you guys,
but their kids and grandkids are in there, right?
Yeah.
And you've been in there. That's the funny part. You've been in there. You've been in there, and you've been in there.
So, do you think that I mean, I'm gonna say it, races, right? That higher percentage who know that this is a structure, right? We have to pass the structure, that structure is going to get. Do you think that their key to success is treating their marriage, their kids, their household as a business versus, I would say, love in certain aspects?
Love is all bullshit.
That's what I'm
Yes,
trying to say.
it's all bullshit.
I'm just trying to throw it out.
Yeah, I think you're onto it, that it does have to be looked at in a sense that you are conducting a business, an operation.
Operation.
Agreed.
But I don't think that our culture
We don't.
look at it.
But but since that chain was broken, it's hard to put that chain back together once it's broken, right?
And
But
then you throw that chain into business, which just fucks everything
yeah,
up.
it doesn't
But if
it doesn't
you
really
throw that
work.
emotion into something that, although you're passionate about something, the way that you show the emotion for it can actually destroy the way that you present it to somebody.
I mean, emotions are necessary. Everybody has them, right? But
But what I'm saying is,
no, I'm not going against you.
right?
No, not at all. What I was going to say is that, this love and relationships. Look, I want your respect more than I want your love.
That's me.
Flat out.
Yes.
I don't give a damn if you. Okay, but see, after you respect me, see, the love comes. See, I wouldn't call it collateral damage, but respect first, then love. Okay, romance. Okay, but as the basis of a relationship of love and romance, and no, man, that's. I was gonna say we, right, but I'll say we. We have been fooled. That is not what it is. That was always a business, because when there was arranged marriages, love was not there. That comes later. They didn't love each other. They didn't even know each other. But yeah, they stayed together for 50, 60, 70 years. And that was normal. And it's still normal, right? So love ain't got nothing to do with it, dog. Man, get out of here, bro.
You guys go back and check the last episode that we posted, and this whole conversation you will hear in its entirety in a totally different way, right? I'm gonna pull you back to business and
Yes, sir.
jump off of that. That family thing it's a big situation to deal with. I see a lot of people shutting down their businesses now. There's a lot of things that are going on, whether or not it's financially, family wise. I'll go back and I'm gonna extend this past our race. I had this discussion just like yesterday, that the family of a very popular jewelry shop has decided to close the doors. And over the Christmas holiday, the family decided that they was gonna just open up and continue to try to sell the remaining items of the jewelry in which the jewelry maker had made or whatnot. Like in terms of those, and I guess I'm still dragging it back to a family who have now decided that they don't wish to continue on that business anymore. If it was a business that is a sort of a necessity or a requirement, what would be your take towards people like that? You just say, look, I don't even want to do it no more. I don't want this business. This was my dad's business, but I don't want this. But meanwhile, everybody needs gas.
Right.
Everybody
Understood.
needs,
I completely understand your question. Well, I'll tell you this. A good business individual, a business-minded person has an exit plan. That's one thing I did learn. You have to be able to look at the numbers, the market, the books. It shows itself in the numbers. Numbers do not lie. Right? So if you're looking at something quarter after quarter after quarter, the numbers are going down and down and down. Boy, it's time to get out of there. Now, you can either stay in it and then have to file for bankruptcy, which does not look good at all, or you get out of Dodge. They probably had their run, because nothing lasts forever, right? Since nothing lasts forever, you have to be able to look at the numbers and find out when it's time to bonk out, right? And try to recoup, especially if you're dealing in something in retail or sales. You got to try to recoup back what you have in the inventory, right? And then you get out of Dodge. Whether if it's a burger place or a jewelry place or a clothing place, the numbers mean stuff.
Do you think that we will ever get to the point where importing resources, physical things required to carry on day-to-day life, will reach a point to where the lower class people will just have to rely on like financial assistance because of the import of goods and items for buildings, everything in general, because that's all going up.
Okay, no, I agree.
And so as a business owner, they tend to have to put their prices up as well too.
Yeah, it gets passed down to the consumer.
Taking people out of a category because they can't afford to continue to live.
Understood. I think this is where understanding money and business and commerce and imports and exports and receivables has to kind of come into play, right? And these are some of the pieces of the puzzles that if you don't have these, you'll pretty much go off of what the mainstream is saying. Right. So the mainstream is saying is that the prices are going up. Well, it's not really that. It's that your dollar value is actually going down. So now you need more of this money to acquire that, right? So only thing, depending on what type of business you're in, if you're in the digital era, none of it matters. But if you're into service, right? Only thing you have to do, especially once you get to a certain level, all that cost goes down to the client. All of that cost goes down to the customer. That's why now a burger is $20. I mean, the business is not going to absorb that cost. They wouldn't survive. Right. So since they're not going to do that, the individuals who are at a certain economic level are either they find a way to climb out of the hole, or just like in America, the middle class is practically wiped out. So it's going to be the people at the bottom and the people at the top. And that's it. And you have to figure out a way to get to where. Now, if you're cool with just wallowing in the nonsense, because if you've always wallowed in the nonsense, then that's all you know. Then that's Gucci for you.
That's all you know.
But if there's us that are no, man, no, sir.
That for us
Or my kids. Not at all.
Fact. My brother,
Yes, sir.
we are going to just put a pause on this, right? And I do appreciate you coming back. This only leaves room and opportunity for you to come back again.
I would love to, man. I love coming up here, man.
Share your expertise and your thoughts on.
Now, I'm not an
this
expert.
topic.
I am not an expert, brother. Please do not put that on me. No.
So yeah, I think we're gonna just tie this one out, just as it is and where it's at, and to allow those people who are thinking of starting a business, those people who already have a business and are struggling, those people who have a business and are thriving and just need that inspiration. I hope you got something from this and what was said. Feel free to hit us up. Let us know your thoughts on it and what you would like to hear us discuss more when it comes down to business on this island or off this island. It doesn't really matter. We're willing to get into. Bro, thank you.
Every time, brother. On the rock.
Anybody want to shout out?
Hey, shout out to Urban. UCS, C&G. Big up Rusty. Mom, dad was at there. And but nah, it's Gucci. Yeah.
I appreciate you, my boy, once again. You guys, if you have not poured yourself a drink by now, you are late. We done for the night. I want to just take this time out to thank Nocturnal once again. Uh, Thank you, UCS, for having us. And of course, my prestige guest, thank you for joining us. I got to take this time on you guys for those of you who did not know. I got to send a big shout out now to the familia, the Basin family that's loved every time. I lost my grandmother, and as a family, I just want you guys to know that I love you. I support you, and I'm here for you. This lady fought for each one of us. This lady cut our asses, and then loved us straight after. Each one of us had tons of stories to share about her, and I hope and pray that her memory lives on. So, Ma, this one is definitely dedicated to you. So big shout out to Dave and family. You guys, next week, have your drinks ready. Don't forget to hit us up with your choice of drink. You never know, it could be highlighted as the drink of the week. But until that time, we'll catch you later.